And percent. First things first, let's talk just a little bit about fractions. The book starts off throwing at you just making sure that you know how to, they give you a circle and it's cut into equal pieces. Let's say it's cut into equal pieces and part of it is shaded. If I asked you the fraction shaded, or even the fraction not shaded, you could tell me what fraction of that circle is shaded. And again, it basically just starts, if you haven't done this before, the bottom of the fraction is how many pieces, equal pieces you've cut the pie into, or the circle into, or the square into. In this case, I cut it into 8 equal pieces. And then the top one is what you're talking about. So how many shaded are there out of those 8 pieces? You look at that, and it's a tough one, Mia, but right. 1/8 of the circle is shaded. What fraction is not shaded? Well, it's still cut into 8 pieces, but this time on top of the fraction goes how many pieces are not shaded, and that's a tough one again, Sammy, and that would be 7/8. Or maybe they'll do something like this. They'll give you some circles like this, and they'll color in this and this. And they might ask you the fraction of the circle that is shaded or the fraction not shaded. If you have those circles there, what fraction of these circles are shaded? Alex?
2/5.
Right, 2 out of the 5. And if there's 2/5 that are shaded, what fraction would not be shaded? Ryan?
3/5.
3/5. What fraction of the circles are either shaded or not shaded? What fraction are either shaded or not shaded? How many of you guys should do this? What fraction of the circles are striped? Striped equals 1/5. What fraction of the circles are polka dotted? What fraction are polka dotted? Polka. Where they came up with that name? Now, let's look at how these things are related a little bit to percents. If you look at your fraction circles, right, we cut those things out. Somebody show me their little fraction circle sheet there. Perfect, because it does give you quarter tenths. Take out no, let's just write it here. Under the word percents, how much stuff have we done with percents?
Zero. Nothing.
Perfect. Well, let's just talk about that. As a matter of fact, take out a blank piece of paper and write percents as a whole separate little sheet there. The word itself, percent. You see percent a lot because your grades generally are done with percents. Okay, but what does the word percent mean? Anybody? If you were somewhat of a detective, you could split it up into a couple words here. Per and cent. The word percent means, anybody going out there? Somebody take a shot at it? Sammy says? Exactly. It means, per kind of means out of, and cent means out of 100. Okay, so when you do your grades, okay, if your grade is a percent, okay, if you got, let's say, 80%, that would mean out of 100 questions, you got 80 of them right. Or I guess you could also say you got 20 of them wrong. But that's what an 80% would be. Now, what you have to think about here, though, like the problem with this. 7/10. No good. Thank you. You just leave it right there, that's fine. If you have the fraction 7/10, what percent would that be? Now the problem with that is percent means out of 100, and my fraction here is only out of 10. So 7 out of 10. Now one thing you can do is this, and that's why you got those handy dandy little circles. If you look back at your little circle pieces, I'll do that with me right now so you know what I'm talking about. If you look at your little reference sheet that Sammy has there, do we not have tenths?
No, we have tenths.
Okay, if you look at tenths, you know that the fraction 1/10, it tells you what percent that is, which is what percent? It's 10%. So if you know that 1/10 is 10%, if you have 7 of those, what percent is that? Shouldn't be too tough for you. If 1/10 is 10%, one fraction piece is 10. If you have 7 of them put together, Madison, it's 70%. Okay, so you can always go back and look at your little fraction pieces. But a better way to think about percents right now, good for us, is that we use percents work really well with money. Why with money? Because we split $1 into how many cents? 100, no. Okay, money is always split, we split it into 100 cents. So, we talk about fractions and percents all the time. For example, the fraction 1/4, all you have to do is think about, when we talk about money, how much is a quarter? And that is your percent. What is a quarter? Right, a quarter is 25 cents, it's 25%. Okay, because we've taken $1, split it into fourths, and how much is a fourth of $1? It's 25%. What other coins do we have that would be the same as percents? Well, a dime. A dime is what fraction of $1? We just did it. There are 10 dimes, so that is 10%. 50 cents. If you have a half of $1, a half of $1 is how many cents, which would be the same as what its percent is? 50%. 3/4 of $1, or 3/4 is how much money? Maggie? 75 cents, so it is also 75%. Okay? Now that only works, well, it works with a few things. Money is one of them. Why doesn't it work with time? 10 minutes is not 10% of an hour. For what reason? Exactly. A minute's, if somebody would have split an hour into 100 minutes each, then 10 minutes would be 1/10. 20 minutes would be 20%. But it's not. But a quarter of an hour in time, or 25% of an hour, would be how many minutes? What is a quarter of an hour?
15.
15 minutes. That's of an hour. See, percent depends on what you're talking about. Money, it's a quarter is 25 cents, but in an hour, a quarter of it is only 15. I think the only ones they really want you to know are the tenths, the quarters, and the halves, and I think you know that. And then, as far as decimals go, let's think about that. Again, yeah, put this under a new piece of paper. Again, this is, well, I'll put the percents out there just because we got them. They kind of expect that you should know this here, but this, when we talk about decimals, again, if you just think about money, it's very easy because how do you write, here would be our decimal things. You can look on your little pie pieces, by the way, as well. But how do you write 25 cents in money terms using a decimal? It's a quarter of a dollar, it's 25% of a dollar, but as a decimal, it is what number? Sammy?
0.25.
Yeah, you don't put the 0 in front of it, that's fine. So all three of these mean the same thing. 25 cents, or 0.25, 25 hundredths, 25% and 1/4 all mean the exact same thing. A half a dollar, which is 50% of a dollar, which is what decimal? How do you write half of a dollar in decimal form? How much money is it, Caleb? What's that? 0.5 or 0.50 if you like. And the same thing is true with a dime, 10% of a dollar, which is maybe 0.10. But we don't have to put the zeros at the end, so 0.1 and 0.50. 0.5 is the same as all of those. You don't have to put those in that same shape. The book will let you put either one of those just for right now. So here are a couple questions for you that will do. Let's look at this. See, I've got this triangle here. How about this? What fraction percent and decimal of the big triangle is shaded? What fraction, percent, and decimal of the big triangle is shaded? Here's my big triangle. First of all, let's look at it. What fraction of the big triangle is shaded? How many pieces is it cut into, and how much of that is shaded? Caitlin?
25%.
What fraction first?
1/4.
1/4, right. And what percent is that? Well, you should know that a quarter of a dollar is 25%. And then what decimal of that is shaded? It's getting harder all the time. Caleb?
1/25.
Right, 0.25. So that's kind of your intro to fractions, decimals. Let's do one more. What if I have this? Give me the fraction, the percent, and the decimal that's shaded. The fraction, the percent, and the decimal that's shaded of that big box. Of this big thing here. Pretending that I actually drew it all perfectly nice and I'll cut it up perfectly. Fraction, percent, and decimal, and again, just think in terms of money, I don't think you'll have too much trouble. What fraction of it, Alex?
Is 4/10.
4 out of 10. Okay. What percent is 4/10? Remember, 1/10 is a dime, so if you have 4 of those, it would be, Ryan?
40%.
40%. And then what decimal, if you're writing 4 dimes in terms of money, it would be going once, going twice. Logan?
40%.
40 cents. Or 0.40 or just 0.4. So there, children, is your